is the curiosity cabinet, based on a Victorian curiosity cabinet made from craft card and matting. It's got a little drawer at the front here that we'll reveal in a minute. It's got flips on the front that are secured with this closure. So let's have a look at what happens when we open it up. We begin by opening up these two flips, and then we've got two more flips here, two more flips here, and we can open up these flips to reveal this amazing artwork by Ernst Haeckel, who illustrated lots of forms, amazing forms that we find in nature, that at the time that he made them were an absolute revelation to the world and took the world by storm, and they're absolutely beautiful. And then we can close this up, or we can leave it open to reveal even more. These two sections fold behind and offer us some support to the main structure. So we can open up this section, and this is where I struggle to fit it all into the video, and open up these two sections here to reveal this beautiful pufferfish. And these two sections here, this one is from the original cover of his book, and we can open these two sections here, and then we get this form that's standing upright like a Victorian display cabinet that is supported by these two sections at the back. Take it back a little bit and we have two little journals in here. For the sake of the video, I've kept these pages quite simple and blank, but there is lots you can do with these pages. If you want to turn them into little journals or keep them as little notebooks, you can use all of the bits and pieces that you get from matting this whole structure to embellish your little journals. And then if that wasn't enough, we've got a little drawer at the front here that contains the main journal. And again, for the sake of the video, I've kept this really simple. You can double up on these decorative pages, or you can print plain pages. You've got pocket options, and you've got lots of tag options with all the little bits and pieces of matting that you get to make the main form. So there we are. Come along with me and let's see how this beautiful, whimsical form has been put together. The first 4 pages of your kit consist of the main box, which will fit the drawer into it, and also the flips that go at the back and the flips that go on the front of this back section. So go ahead and cut out all the solid lines and crease all the dotted lines with your scoring board or the back of your craft knife and your ruler, or whatever it is you prefer to use. Now we also have on one of those 4 sheets 4 little discs to cut out and stick 2 together to make a more rigid closure. Now what I like to do with those is cut out one disc, stick it on top of another disc, let it dry, and then I find it easier to cut out the second disc, and they all line up nicely then. All your edges are all nice and lined up. And then you can use a bradawl to punch, or a compass or something like that, to make yourself a little hole through the centre of those 2. And also you'll see on the drawer section here there are 3 little crosses. If you want to put one handle, one little brad in there, use your middle one. If you want to put 2 in, you can use them either side. Of course, you can put them where you want to. I just thought those little crosses might be a helpful positioning tool for you. Right, we can put those to one side for the moment and build the drawer. Like I say, all the solid lines have been cut and all the dotted lines have been creased. So we can now go ahead and fold this into the drawer. So I'm folding all of my shapes inwards, making micro adjustments as I go. It's not too late, even though they're creased, just to make sure that everything is properly lined up. so that it'll all sit nice and square together. Use a folding bone by all means rather than your nail if you prefer to. And there's my 2 holes there for the brads. I can grab my brads now, which are in my little chest of drawers here that I made, and I can grab my bit of tape to secure it with. I'll get 2 brads to go on the front of my drawer and put those in now. Now, a little tip I like to use, if I've got a bit of scrap card kicking about here somewhere, is take a scrap of card, fold it in half, make a little slit, not too wide, just wide enough for the legs to go through of your brad. There we are. That's a little bit too wide, but it still gets the idea across. And then you can open up the legs of your brad. And when you come to take this tool off, you've got a little bit of wiggle room there. You haven't made your brad dead tight. And I'll pop a bit of tape over my brads to save them moving around. And now I can glue it together. Now these tabs here are going to fold in. We bring the whole lot up to 90 degrees, and then this section comes over, the tabs get sandwiched in, and this piece comes down over the top. And because I'm quite familiar with this structure, I'm going to do it all in one go. If you'd rather, you can pop a little bit of glue on these tabs, bring them up, glue them to this section, let that grab or dry, and then bring that section over the top. But if you're a little bit gung-ho about it, as I am, you can glue, oops, a little bit too gung-ho even by my standards. You can glue this whole section, bring up your tabs, and these are the edges to 90 degrees to the base. Bring your piece up to meet the tabs, and then fold this piece in place. Now this raw side of the craft card doesn't really like to be glued, so this, I expect this to pop open, but that's fine. And one thing to note is make sure your tabs are all the way in there. You want a structure that's at 90 degrees, which means everything has to be lining up nicely. That will pop open, but that's okay. I can come back to it. As that glue goes off, it'll get a bit tacky and it'll want to grab. So we'll do the same here, being careful not to get glue on the floor of our box. Bring these little tabs around, sit them flush on the floor of the box. Bring up this section to meet them, fold the tab over the top, and glue into place, again checking that these tabs are nicely pushed in so that everything's sitting at 90 degrees. And now when I go ahead and glue these 2 tabs, these short sides, and push those in, they will keep these corners all in place. And then all I've got to keep doing is just pressing these down as this glue gets tacky. You see it's got tacky there, so it's sticking now. Last one. There we go, and that's my main box shape. I'll keep coming back to that and keep pressing those sides down, and once that glue has gone a little bit tacky, It'll stick like a charm. And that's our little drawer. So we can put that to one side for now. Like I say, I'll keep checking those edges and pressing them down and make sure everything's glued in place. I've got my two little closures. I'll pop those in my drawer for now. And let's have a look at the box section that the drawer will sit in. And again, I've cut out all this shape all along the solid lines, and I've creased all along the dotted lines. And once again, I'm just going to fold everything inwards, making any micro adjustments as I go. That all looks lovely. Now the box is designed so that these two flaps at the end here will just fold under, just to give you a nice rigid edge on this edge of the box. That's where your drawer will slide into. So don't be too confused. You can glue these two tabs under. A bit fiddly to get the glue onto there, but I'm sure you can do it. And like I say, that's just to give you a nice folded seam at the end, rather than just the raw edges of the box. And just press those down inside. Because the card is uncoated, this craft card is uncoated on one side, the glue doesn't like it too much. I'll give that a moment to go tacky. It's blowing a gale out there. Now that's gone nice and tacky. That'll stick down all nicely. I'll give that one a moment. So that's our main box, and here is the drawer that's going to go into our main box. It doesn't want to go at the moment, obviously, because those flaps aren't stuck properly down. That's what that looks like. It looks mighty fine. Now this is where this design gets really interesting and exciting. This is the flip up that's going to sit on top of the box. So again, I'm going to fold everything inwards. Now there isn't any gluing on this section at the moment. What's going to happen here is that our box section is going to have this section glued or sandwiched between the matting and the box. So we're not going to stick that on just yet. Right. These two sections next, just pop that to one side for a moment, and we'll crease these sections, and the same on the other one. And when you're making these kinds of folds, it generally doesn't matter which way you crease them. If you make a mistake, just fold it around the other way. There we are. Now these pieces. Okay, so that's all the construction that we can do right now. And now we need all our matting pieces, and we also need to do a lot of inking. So I'm going to get going. I'll do that off camera because there's going to be quite a lot of it. And everywhere there's a corner or an edge, I'm going to get my inking on. So the next part of our journey with this curiosity cabinet is going to be matting this section here on the front and the back. And we've got these two pages with these sections here, ignoring these large journal pockets, which we'll use later on. Now these are printed single-sided, there's nothing on the back. I've used 160 gram paper. It's quite nice and weighty. You can go thinner if you like. 160 gram is £59 cover stock. 120 gram would also be okay, which is £80 tech stock, but use what you have. You can go thicker or you can go lighter. So I'm going to cut out now these sections and come back, and we can mat them on to this panel here. Here are all my pieces cut out. I've got panels for the front and the back of this, I can go ahead and stick down everything that's going to be on the inside. And these pieces are interchangeable. Obviously, they're the same on the front as they are on the reverse. So you can have a play about and see where you'd like things to sit. So I'll stick these down. So here are my pieces all glued down. It's starting to feel nice and sturdy now. I forgot to mention that I've inked in the edges of these little sections as well, just to lose that little bit of white paper down the edge and add to that vintagey, grungy kind of look. Right, so this is this side. Now it folds up like this and like this. And then ultimately the whole form folds up on top of its base. Put that to one side. So as we unfold this, we can have a look at how we want these other panel pieces to look. This one, for instance, I've chosen to go with the moth on this section here. When it's opened, this moth will be upside down, so you can make the choice to have that the right way up when it's opened or the right way up as you open the form, and I'm going to do it this way up, which is obviously upside down when you look at it like that. Everything else is going to be the right way up. When I say the right way up, there isn't really a right way up for a lot of these pieces, I don't think. This piece here, I'm going to hold fire on sticking that one down because these pieces are going to sandwich between this piece of matting and the piece of board underneath. So I'll mat these first. So we'll put this one to one side for now. I'll pop it on top of my drawers and I'll glue these sections down and then we'll come back. But let's open it up and have a look and see. Let's pop it on its base. So we open up this first section. I've got this moth appears here. Open up this next section and I've got these two panels that then open to reveal this beautiful little puffer fish. Is it a puffer fish? I think so. And we open to reveal this amazing, whatever this is, beautiful forms. Really pleased it's coming together very well. This page here are the pockets for these two sections and these two sections, and there's also a base for the drawer here and some little closures. So I'm just going to concentrate on these pockets now and we'll get those pockets in place. Pages. Here are all the pieces cut out from this page. I've got two pockets. I'm going to ink up these edges and I've also creased here. So cut out all the solid lines, crease and fold along the dotted lines. This pocket will go here when it's folded, and these are optional pockets. You can, if you want to, have a pocket up here to put some ephemera in. And there are pockets to go on either side. Now I'm going to choose not to use those, at least at the moment. I may revisit that. But I love these pieces so much. I want this more of a display piece rather than a journal. But the option is there for you. And on this sheet, we've also got these little bobs here that are matting. You only need two that are matting for our little closures. So I'm just going to pop those in our drawer for now. Right, let's fold this pocket here. Following your crease lines, just fold all those pieces to the inside. You can make any micro adjustments as you go along. There's still a little bit of wiggle room in case you're off with one of your skull marks. And this piece here just folds to the inside to give you a nice finished edge to that pocket, and you've also got depth to that pocket as well. So I can ink up my edges, I think, first. There we are, that's looking good, and I can glue this into place. I'm going to glue this flap down first, which is just my little nice little finishing touch to that edge. can glue this pocket in place, gluing the last three. I'll use my small glue for this. Gluing the last three tabs here, the ones with the shaped edges. And this pocket is going to glue in position here. So you can begin, a little bit tricky to line this up. But you can do it. You can glue one section at a time if you'd rather. And then making sure that these are sitting at 90 degrees, you can glue this flap in place. And you can glue that flap in place. And just make sure it's all sitting nice and square. And you can hold it down and let it grab. This one's a little bit off, so I can go in there with a ruler and just line it up nicely whilst I've got a little wiggle room with that glue. There we are, and there's your nice deep pocket that are going to house two of the little journals that we're going to make in a little minute. Oh, that's very pleasing. That's lovely. Okay, like I say, if you want to, go ahead and pop these little panels down for some little extra pockets for ephemera pieces if you want to, but I'm going to choose not to use those because I really just want to be able to see those beautiful illustrations, and in all good faith I couldn't bring myself to cover up my little puffer fish. If you'd put your other piece on the side, your little moth, you may feel more inclined to use that pocket. Completely up to you, there's some flexibility there. So here are the next two pages we're going to concern ourselves with. And they are the matting panels. All these around the edge here are the matting panels for these two pieces here. And these two pieces are going to sit folded up on our box, on the very top of our box, and open up like this. So these long flaps here need to be at the bottom when you're deciding where to put your pieces. Now, a word about these pieces. To allow for a nice fold there, this section is slightly narrower than this section, and this section, same deal, is slightly narrower than this section. So all of these pieces, this piece for instance is slightly wider than that piece, this piece is slightly narrower than this piece. So after you've cut them out, just pay attention to where you're putting your pieces. You might feel that a piece is too big or a piece is too small. It's not, it just needs to be in a slightly different place. But let's concern ourselves with that when we've cut them out. These two pieces here and here are the covers for our mini journals. If you want to reverse print these two sheets, go ahead. I haven't done because I'm a ninny, but I'm going to run with these. Let's cut out all of these and mat up these two sections. So here are all my pieces cut out and fairly deliberately mixed up. These two pieces that are on that sheet we can pop in the drawer for use later. They're going to be the covers of our mini journals, but for now we can look at these pieces that I've cut out and inked up. They're going to go on these two sections here, which will, when they're open, look like that, and then when they're closed will look like that. So we can just have a look at one of those for now. If you've mixed up your pieces during your cutting and inking process, as I have, it's not too difficult to get your act together. There are 4 pieces that are the same width, which are these 4 here. It's not easy to tell them, it's easy to tell them apart, and they go on that panel there. And there are 4 pieces that are wider than these 4 pieces. So you can put those in a pile, and then there are 4 pieces that will sit here that are slightly wider than these pieces that will sit here. So it's just a little bit jigsaw-y. Find your pieces that are the same width That one goes there, that one sits on there, that one sits on there, and that one sits on there. So I've got 4. But before we go any further, we're going to get these little guys sorted out. And we've already stuck 2 pieces of card together to make a nice sturdy closure. And now we need to choose 2 of these, cut 2 of these out and stick them on the top. So here are my 2 little pieces and my 2 actual card closures that I've already pierced a hole in with a bradawl. If you haven't got a bradawl, a compass is fine, and wiggle it around. And then you can stick your piece on the top. This is slightly smaller than the piece of card to allow for a nice little edge. Don't expect perfection with circles on such a small scale, because you'll only be disappointed. There we are. They look really cool. And now you can reinforce that hole, pierce that hole. My brads live in my little chest of drawers that I made as I seem to be constructing my world out of craft card. You can pop your brad through the centre. And now pop those to one side for a moment. And we can decide which pieces we want to be on the very front cover of our closed display cabinet. And just check out on your little piles which pieces it is that you need to be putting on the front. And it is the widest of these 2 pieces. And making sure that you've got yours so that these flaps, these flips, open towards you, not away from you. Not that it would matter greatly, because you can just turn them upside down. These pieces of amazing illustration are quite forgiving in that respect, I think. So there's one. And let's do the other. Now, before we go any further with this, we need to attach our brads. So we can do that by deciding exactly where we want them to go. So I'm going to do mine, so it's halfway up, and then I'm going to come in 3/4 of an inch. Make myself a little mark there. And just check that works. Yeah, that works. And I can make my hole, make sure I open this piece first. And I don't go through my fingers. I can make my little mark with my pointy tool and just enlarge that hole a little bit to get the brad through. Pop your assembly on the top with the brad through the legs of the little tool you've just made. Pop this brad through your hole. Open up the legs of the brad. Pop a little bit of tape on the back to secure it. And then remove your tool, and you've got a little bit of wiggle room under here, under this little closure assembly to wrap your twine, because you haven't gone too tight with it. And that's looking really cool. Where's my other one gone? So here are these 2 panels, and now I'm going to stick down these panels here. So have a play about. You have got a bit of flexibility in there with 4 panels in total for that section on the front and back, 4 panels on this section, front and back, and 4 panels on these sections, front and back. So have a play about, see what you want to put where, jiggle it all about to your liking. I'm going to go ahead and stick those down. There we are. I'm really happy with those. They look great. So I can flip these 2 pages over now and stick down the other panels on the other side. And I've got 2 wider ones here and not there, here and here. I've got 2 narrower panels. I think I'll swap this shell. I love that shell. It's one of my favourite images. Pop that there. That one there. I think I'll go with this one here. This one here, and I've got two final pieces, and I think I'll go this way around with them. So I'll stick those down. So there they are, looking fabulous. Pay a little bit more attention, apply a little bit more glue to these areas here, because they have this on the other side of them, and they've got this raised area that's the back of these brads. So you may find a little bit more glue and a little bit more attention to just keep going back and sticking those down, and as the glue dries you should have no problem. And if they're still raised and you have a needle tipped bottle with glue in, you can just go in and pop a little bit more glue in that little area if it's not sealing properly for you. So now we've done those, we only need one more page to actually complete the structure of our box, and that is this page here. This is the matting for the top of the box, and I have reverse printed this page because I've got some little journal pages here that I needed reverse printing. So I'll cut this one out, and we should have everything we need to finish compiling, to finish putting together the main structure. So that's this piece cut out. Now you might notice that the section for the base of the drawer is the same size as this. If you want to, I've made this one the same size as this one, even though it will need trimming down slightly for the drawer, and I've done that so that you've got two options. If you want to pop that brightly coloured one on there, you can do, or you've got this one that is the more subtle seashells, and I think I'm going to go with the bright one, and I'll trim this one down slightly to fit into the base of my drawer. So I'm going to begin by grabbing my glue, applying a little bit of glue to both edges, and because this is craft card it takes a little while longer to grab than other glues. And then I'm going to line up this edge here. You can just see my hand in the way. I'll line up this edge in the centre. This is slightly narrower than the edge of the box, so centralise that, and the same on the other side. One-handed now. And open that flap out so that you know you're not going to be gluing any of this flap in the process. Line up those two areas and give them time to grab, and you might want to open that out just to be sure you're not applying any glue anywhere you don't want it. And when you're happy that those two sections have had a little time to grab, you can pop on this piece of matting or this piece of matting onto the front. And if you need to make any slight adjustments and trim this piece down so that it all fits, you can go ahead and do that. And then these pieces fold up like this and sit on the top. And the same here. This piece fits better first, and then those two pieces afterwards. Close it all up, make sure everything sits nicely together, and you've got this little peekaboo space in the middle here. Now that's all done, let's have a look at it. These two sections open, and these two sections open, these two sections open, and these two sections open. How fabulous. And now just to finish off this section, we can tie on a piece of twine. I'm using embroidery thread, you could use a little piece of ribbon. Snip that end off, to use a figure of 8 closure, going around a couple of times to secure that. And that's that section finished. Now, this section I had intended to be the matting for this area here, but I think I'm going to swap that round. This has been cut with a border. This piece hasn't, so I'm going to use this piece for the matting for the top of that bit of the box, and I'm going to pop this piece in as the matting for the inside of the drawer. Everything fits nicely. Right, so I can go ahead now and glue this section of the box, this last remaining little flap of the top section. Plenty of glue on there because we need that to stick. We're asking a lot of it. There's quite a lot of weight and bulk in this piece now. Lots of glue on there. I can put my drawer in, give me a little bit of rigidity when I'm pressing these two forms together, and then I can line up the edges of the box here. Bring these pieces down, check everything lines up properly, line it all up while I've got some wiggle room, check I'm happy with all of these edges and that I haven't got any overhangs on any of the sides, make any adjustments, and then just allow that whole thing to grab. And when you're happy that's done and it's secure, you can open up this section and apply this last little bit of matting over the top. And there it is, that's our box complete. In a minute we'll get on and make the actual little journals that are going to go inside it, but first let's have a look at what we've created. So here's the top, and we can undo this closure to give us these opening sections here and here and here and here. Look at that, absolutely fabulous. And then we can close this section up I'll leave that open actually, and reveal this section here now, and we can open up. It's difficult on the video, and we've got this section here, we've got these two sections here, and then we can open up and reveal these two sections here with this pocket that will eventually house the two small journals. Now I do have a trick up my sleeve with this, which I can't possibly get across to you on the video, but if I turn this round, you can see that these two pieces here support this main structure here. And if you bring these up, these sections up, and fiddle about with it a little bit, you will find that you can support your display cabinet open. So you can have it open on display like an old style Victorian cabinet, and it looks like that, only on a much better angle because you won't be viewing it from above. So there we are, you've got these two sections here at the back that open up to reveal wonderfulness, but also act as the support and the stands for the back. So now we're going to make the small journals. And we've got the two covers that we cut out from another page, which I didn't reverse print like a ninny, but you can if you want to. And then we've also got this sheet, and we've got this sheet here. And there's also, you'll have left over some other little bits of pockets that you can put on if you want to. So I'll go ahead, cut those out, and we'll assemble the small journals. Here are my pages cut out. A little bit of light inking around the edges, apart from the one that I missed. And I've cut out just a couple of pockets for the sake of the video, but there are more available to you if you want to use them. Right, I'm going to decide which cover I want, which I've cut slightly larger than the pages, so I can go ahead and fold my cover in half. Yours may have reverse printing on the back. I omitted to do mine. These are my covers. And then I need to choose 3 pages to fold together out of these 6, and I might as well go with the order they appear here. Fold those together as one piece. They tend to sit better than folding each piece individually. There we are. And if you want to print out, double up on these pages, you can do, or print out some plain pages and cut them to size. You've got the option to do that. For the sake of the video, I'm going to keep mine quite small and simple. And I'm going to stitch these together. So I'll take the centre or thereabouts of a book, line these pages up nicely, make sure I've got them the right way up, and position them in the centre of my cover, which, like I say, is cut slightly larger. Take my book, pop it into the spine, and then make a couple of holes. I'm not going to bother measuring this out, but you can do if you want to. Make a few holes. Carefully pull all of that up together. You could bulldog clip this if you want to. And then begin to stitch. Don't want that piece. Just as you would with normal stitching, in and out and in and out. Pull all that nice and tight. And tie a knot. And trim off your ends. And there is your little notebook complete. And like I say, you may choose to have more pages than this. This has got 3 folded double pages, which gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pages. And repeat that for the other one. If you want to, because these are such small books, you can make just a couple of holes. You could, for instance, go here and here, hold it all together, push your needle through one hole and back through this bottom hole, if you can find it. And then tie off your booklet like that. Now your little booklets will fit quite nicely. Let's lay this down into these little pockets here. Oh, this is delightful. And here are the last pages for our project folded together. I've printed out an extra sheet that I reverse printed, which has given me an extra 2 pages when folded. So fold all of those together. You've got 2 quite patterned pages. You can choose that one or this one as your cover. Fold it all together and assemble your little journal as we did with the others. And there we are. That's my mini booklet complete, and I have, like I say, an assortment of pockets for you to choose from. I've just cut out a couple for the sake of the video, and I can glue those in place. They're slightly shorter than the pages, just to keep it nice and simple. So a narrow seam of glue around 3 edges, and you can pop your pocket on. And obviously, if you want to make more of this journal, you've got your basic pages here that you can add to. You can double up the printing on those pages, and you've got lots and lots of panels and little bits and bobs that you've used in constructing the main form that you can adapt and use to make tags and extra pockets and little flips, or whatever you want to do to make this journal. There's mine. I haven't inked my edges, and if you want to as well, you can go in with a craft knife and a ruler, which I'm not going to do, and you can just score through all of these pages to even them all up if you want to. So that's it. That's our basic project complete. Like I say, you've got scope for embellishing your journal and your little journals further if you want to, and this larger journal fits in to the drawer here. And here is the finished curiosity cabinet with its little drawer at the front and its opening flips at the top, which we can open to reveal some beautiful, beautiful artwork by Ernst Haeckel. And then we can open up the top to reveal even more. We place these pieces behind, bring these pieces up, almost like making a house of cards at the back there. And I don't know if I can get this all in the video. I've tried my hardest to arrange my camera so that I can fit it all in, but I think I'm still going to miss a bit. We can open up these sections, and we can open up these sections. This will sit on the top here, open, there we are. And we've got 2 booklets inside, 2 little journals, and you can add more pages to these if you want to. So we've got 2 of those with these beautiful, beautiful covers. And let me slide this back a little, and we can open the drawer, and inside we have a little journal. There's room for a lot more pages and a lot more embellishment on this journal that I've put, but just for the sake of the video, I've just included 1 pocket, tiny little bit of ephemera, and then the main pages. And like I say, you can add more, double up on these pages, and make this journal as elaborate as you would ordinarily make a journal, so long as it will fit within your drawer there. And there we are. I'm going to bring the camera down so we can have a look at this form in all its glory at a better angle. And here is the finished curiosity cabinet with all my bits and pieces on my desk in the background there as well. And it looks really, really good. If I can move this round to the back with one hand, you'll be able to see what's going on. These sections here support this main structure, and you can open these out, supporting this area on here. So it's like a little house of cards that this section that will then rest nicely against. Clever little bit of design on my part there, I thought. And that's the piece again from the front. And there we are. I hope you will go ahead and really enjoy making this. It's something really whimsical and fanciful, and to be admired and adored. And I am so happy that I put the time and effort into creating this beauty. I really, really love it with its 3 little journals.